Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to TalkMaster English Channel, the place where we learn English together, slowly, comfortably, naturally, and emotionally through real conversations, daily life stories, and meaningful moments that help beginners feel more confident every single day.
Hi everyone, this is Tom, and today's episode is going to be very special, very emotional, and hopefully very inspiring for anyone who has ever looked at fluent English speakers and quietly thought, I wish I could speak like that one day.
Because today's topic is something that many learners dream about deep inside their hearts, and today's episode is called From Zero to Fluent. Your English journey starts now.
And honestly, I think this title is powerful because many people believe fluency is something magical that only talented people can achieve, while ordinary learners stay nervous and confused forever.
But that is absolutely not true, because every fluent English speaker once started at zero too.
Every confident speaker once struggled with simple words, basic grammar mistakes, nervous pronunciation, and awkward conversations.
And honestly, many learners forget this important truth because they only see the final result of fluent speakers instead of the long emotional journey behind their progress.
They do not see the late nights, the embarrassing mistakes, the fear, the frustration, the confusion, and the small daily practice that slowly built confidence over time.
Yes, and today we want to show our listeners that fluency is not one giant jump forward overnight.
Fluency is built step by step through small conversations, repeated practice, emotional growth, and daily courage little by little.
Because many beginners become discouraged too quickly when they cannot speak perfectly after a short time.
And then they start thinking negative thoughts like, maybe my English is too bad, or maybe I am too old, or maybe fluency is impossible for me.
But honestly, those negative thoughts become much more dangerous than grammar mistakes themselves.
Because fear and self-doubt can stop people from practicing long before their real ability has a chance to grow naturally.
Exactly. And today, through emotional stories, funny moments, realistic daily situations, and meaningful conversations, we want to remind everyone listening that your English journey does not need to start perfectly to become successful later.
In fact, most beautiful journeys begin with confusion, mistakes, uncertainty, and small, courageous steps forward.
And maybe today you are listening while feeling shy about your English level.
Maybe you understand English better than before, but still feel nervous speaking aloud.
Maybe you started learning many times, but quit because progress felt too slow emotionally.
Or maybe you are simply tired of comparing yourself to fluent people online every day.
If you feel any of those emotions right now, please stay with us during this episode, because today's stories were created especially for learners like you.
Because fluency does not belong only to perfect people.
Fluency belongs to people who continue practicing even after difficult days.
And honestly, some of the strongest learners are not the fastest learners.
They are simply the people who keep going even when confidence becomes weak sometimes.
So today, we want you to relax, breathe comfortably, and stop pressuring yourself to sound perfect while listening.
You do not need to understand every single word immediately.
Just listen naturally and allow your English to grow slowly through repeated exposure and emotional connection.
Because language learning becomes much stronger when your heart feels calm and motivated instead of stressed and afraid.
And today's stories will show how ordinary people slowly transformed from nervous beginners into more confident English speakers through simple daily experiences.
There will be funny misunderstandings,
Emotional moments,
awkward conversations,
real-life struggles,
and small victories that quietly changed everything little by little.
Because honestly, one small successful conversation can sometimes create more motivation than 10 hours of stressful studying.
So, wherever you are listening from today, thank you so much for joining us here on Empower English Channel.
And now,
Let's begin the first chapter of this beautiful English journey together.
excuse me, please help me. I am trying to find the nearest hospital because my friend is not feeling well.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yes, there is a hospital close to this area.
Thank you very much. We are a little worried because he suddenly became very sick.
I understand. Don't worry, the hospital is not too far from here.
That is good to hear. Can you please tell me the fastest way to get there?
Of course. Please walk straight along this road for about 4 minutes.
All right, I will walk straight from here.
Then you will see a traffic light near a large pharmacy.
A large pharmacy near the traffic light. Okay.
Yes, after you reach the traffic light, please turn left at the corner.
Turn left at the corner after the pharmacy, right?
That's correct. Then continue walking for another 2 minutes.
Will I see the hospital building easily from the street?
Yes, the hospital is a large white building with a blue sign in front.
That sounds easy to recognize. Thank you for explaining it clearly.
You're welcome. There is also an emergency entrance at the front of the hospital.
That is very helpful because my friend needs quick medical attention.
I understand. The doctors and nurses there are very kind and professional.
I feel a little relieved after hearing that.
Yes, I think your friend will receive good care there.
Thank you very much for helping me in this stressful situation today.
No problem at all. I'm happy to help you.
I will take my friend there immediately now.
I hope your friend feels better soon. Please take care.
Emily, today I want to share a story that still feels very emotional to me because it reminds me of how nervous and insecure I used to feel at the beginning of my English journey before I slowly became more confident over time.
I think many listeners will connect deeply with this story because almost everyone remembers the fear of speaking English publicly for the first time.
Yes, because honestly, when I first started learning English seriously, I only practiced quietly inside my room where nobody could hear my mistakes.
That is actually very common because private practice feels emotionally safer for beginners.
Exactly, because inside my room, I could repeat sentences 10 times, make pronunciation mistakes freely, and pause whenever I wanted without feeling embarrassed.
But real conversations feel completely different emotionally.
Very different, because the moment another human being suddenly listens to your English, your confidence sometimes disappears immediately like smoke.
That is painfully true for many learners.
And honestly, at that time, I believed my English was terrible even though I studied every single day.
Why did you feel that way?
Because I kept comparing my beginner English to fluent speakers online instead of comparing myself to my own past progress.
That comparison trap hurts so many learners emotionally.
Yes, and because of that, I became afraid of speaking publicly even when I knew simple vocabulary and grammar already.
Fear can make people underestimate their actual ability.
Exactly. And one afternoon, my cousin invited me to a small international community event near our neighborhood where many people practiced English casually together.
Oh, wow, that sounds exciting, but also terrifying for shy beginners.
Honestly, when he invited me, my first emotional reaction was pure panic.
What did you say?
I immediately said no thank you. I suddenly remembered I need to stay home and organize my socks emotionally.
Organize your socks emotionally?
Apparently, my brain creates strange excuses when fear becomes strong.
Honestly, that excuse sounds both ridiculous and strangely believable at the same time.
Thank you, but unfortunately, my cousin ignored my terrible excuse and convinced me to go anyway.
So, eventually you went?
Yes, but honestly, during the entire walk there, my stomach felt nervous and my mind kept imagining embarrassing situations repeatedly.
What kind of situations?
I imagined forgetting basic vocabulary, saying incorrect grammar, misunderstanding simple questions, and accidentally embarrassing myself in front of strangers.
Fear really loves creating imaginary disasters before conversations even begin.
Emily, today I want to share a story that still feels very emotional to me because it reminds me of how nervous and insecure I used to feel at the beginning of my English journey before I slowly became more confident over time.
I think many listeners will connect deeply with this story because almost everyone remembers the fear of speaking English publicly for the first time.
Yes, because honestly, when I first started learning English seriously, I only practiced quietly inside my room where nobody could hear my mistakes.
That is actually very common because private practice feels emotionally safer for beginners.
Exactly, because inside my room I could repeat sentences 10 times, make pronunciation mistakes freely, and pause whenever I wanted without feeling embarrassed.
But real conversations feel completely different emotionally.
Very different, because the moment another human being suddenly listens to your English, your confidence sometimes disappears immediately like smoke.
That is painfully true for many learners.
And honestly, at that time, I believed my English was terrible, even though I studied every single day.
Why did you feel that way?
Because I kept comparing my beginner English to fluent speakers online, instead of comparing myself to my own past progress.
That comparison trap hurts so many learners emotionally.
Yes, and because of that, I became afraid of speaking publicly even when I knew simple vocabulary and grammar already.
Fear can make people underestimate their actual ability.
Exactly. And one afternoon, my cousin invited me to a small international community event near our neighborhood where many people practiced English casually together.
Oh wow, that sounds exciting, but also terrifying for shy beginners.
Honestly, when he invited me, my first emotional reaction was pure panic.
What did you say?
I immediately said, "No thank you." I suddenly remembered I need to stay home and organize my socks emotionally.
Organize your socks emotionally?
Apparently, my brain creates strange excuses when fear becomes strong.
Honestly, that excuse sounds both ridiculous and strangely believable at the same time.
Thank you. But unfortunately, my cousin ignored my terrible excuse and convinced me to go anyway.
So eventually you went?
Yes, but honestly, during the entire walk there, my stomach felt nervous, and my mind kept imagining embarrassing situations repeatedly.
What kind of situations?
I imagined forgetting basic vocabulary, saying incorrect grammar, misunderstanding simple questions, and accidentally embarrassing myself in front of strangers.
Fear really loves creating imaginary disasters before conversations even begin.
Exactly. And when we finally arrived, I noticed several people already speaking English naturally in small groups while drinking coffee and smiling comfortably.
That probably made you feel even more nervous emotionally.
Very nervous, because suddenly I felt like the only beginner in the entire room, even though that was not actually true.
Sometimes insecurity makes us believe everyone else is more confident than us.
Yes, and honestly, for the first 15 minutes, I stood near the snack table pretending to be extremely interested in cookies so I would not need to talk.
Yes, the famous social anxiety cookie strategy.
Exactly, because every time someone walked near me, I suddenly became deeply focused on chewing slowly and studying the cookie texture scientifically.
Poor Tom, emotionally hiding behind snacks.
Honestly, those cookies protected my survival emotionally during that event.
So, how did the real conversation finally begin?
Well, while I was pretending to analyze cookies professionally, a friendly older man suddenly walked toward me smiling warmly.
Oh no, the moment you were trying hardest to avoid finally arrived.
Exactly, and honestly, my brain immediately started screaming internally.
What did the man say?
He smiled kindly and asked, "Hello, how are you enjoying the event so far?"
That is actually a very simple and friendly question.
Yes, but because I panicked emotionally, instead of answering normally, I accidentally said, "Yes, I am enjoying this cookie very professionally."
Tom, why did your English become a food documentary suddenly?
Honestly, I have no idea, because fear completely disconnected my brain from reality.
What did the man do after hearing that?
Surprisingly, instead of looking confused or judgmental, he started laughing warmly and said, "Well then, the cookies must be excellent."
Oh, that is actually such a kind response.
Yes, and immediately after that, the conversation suddenly became much more relaxed and natural emotionally.
Because his kindness helped calm your fear.
Exactly. And then we slowly started talking about simple topics like hobbies, favorite foods, music, and travel experiences.
Were you still making mistakes while speaking?
Absolutely. Many mistakes, actually. But something important changed emotionally during that conversation.
What changed?
I stopped focusing completely on my mistakes and started focusing more on communication itself.
That mindset shift is incredibly important for fluency growth.
Yes, because once I stopped trying to sound perfect, speaking suddenly became easier and more enjoyable naturally.
And probably more human, too.
Exactly, because real conversations are not grammar exams.
They are human connections.
And honestly, by the end of the event, I realized something shocking emotionally.
What realization surprised you?
I realized that my English was already useful, even though it was still imperfect.
Wow, that realization can completely change someone's confidence.
It really did, because before that day, I believed fluency meant speaking perfectly without mistakes.
But afterward?
Afterward, I understood that fluency actually begins the moment you stop being afraid to communicate imperfectly.
That is such a powerful lesson for beginners.
And honestly, that small community event became one of the biggest turning points in my entire English journey emotionally.
Because it transformed fear into experience.
Exactly. And from that day onward, I slowly started practicing more bravely in real situations instead of hiding only inside my room.
Dear listeners, if you are still waiting to become perfect before speaking English publicly, please remember this story carefully.
Your journey towards fluency does not begin when fear disappears completely.
It begins the moment you speak anyway, even while feeling nervous inside. Tom, your story about the community event reminds me of something incredibly embarrassing that happened to me during the early stage of my English journey. And honestly, at that time, I wanted to disappear emotionally forever after it happened.
Oh no, this already sounds like a legendary beginner English disaster story.
Unfortunately, yes, and the worst part is that the situation started very normally and peacefully before my brain suddenly betrayed me completely in public.
Those are always the most dangerous situations because you feel confident for 2 seconds before chaos arrives emotionally.
Exactly. And at that time, I had recently promised myself that I would start using English more often during normal daily life situations instead of only studying silently at home every night.
Which was actually a very healthy and brave decision for improving fluency naturally.
Yes, because after hearing many motivational videos and podcasts, I finally realized that fluency grows through real communication experience, not only through memorizing grammar rules endlessly.
That realization changes everything emotionally for many learners.
Exactly. So one afternoon, I went to a large supermarket near my apartment and decided I would practice simple English conversations confidently if opportunities appeared naturally.
You were feeling motivated and optimistic at first?
Very motivated, actually, because that morning I practiced several useful supermarket phrases repeatedly in front of my mirror while pretending to hold invisible vegetables professionally.
Honestly, beginner English practice always looks slightly insane from the outside.
Very true. And unfortunately, my confidence was much stronger inside my room than inside the real supermarket later.
That emotional difference is painfully relatable for language learners.
Yes, because once I entered the crowded supermarket and saw many people walking around quickly, my confidence immediately became smaller emotionally.
Fear suddenly appears when reality replaces imagination.
Exactly, but I still tried staying positive while shopping because I wanted to prove to myself that I could survive a simple English interaction without panicking completely.
That is already a strong mindset improvement compared to many beginners who avoid situations entirely.
Thank you. And honestly, everything was going surprisingly well at first.
Which means disaster was secretly approaching quietly.
Unfortunately, yes, because while shopping, I suddenly noticed a foreign woman looking confused near the cooking oil section.
Ah, another opportunity for real English communication.
Exactly, and because I wanted to become more confident and helpful, I bravely walked toward her and asked politely, "Excuse me, do you need help finding something?"
Wow, that sentence sounds very natural and confident, actually.
Thank you. And thankfully, she smiled warmly and explained that she was searching for sugar, but could not understand the Japanese labels clearly.
That sounds like a very manageable situation so far.
Yes, and honestly, at first, I felt proud because I understood her English clearly without needing repetition.
That must have boosted your confidence emotionally.
It really did. So I happily told her, "Oh yes, I know where the sugar is. Please follow me."
Very smooth communication so far.
Exactly. And while walking together through the supermarket, I suddenly felt like a professional international guide emotionally.
Ah, yes, confident Emily leading important sugar missions professionally.
Unfortunately, my confidence became too strong too quickly.
Which usually leads directly towards disaster.
Exactly, because when we finally reached the sugar section, I proudly grabbed a package and wanted to say, "This sugar is very popular."
That sounds simple enough.
Yes, but instead of saying popular, I accidentally said, "This sugar is very dangerous."
Emily, why are your English mistakes always emotionally dramatic?
I know, and the moment I said it, the woman suddenly looked extremely worried while staring at the sugar package like it might explode at any moment.
Poor woman probably thought the supermarket was selling illegal sugar.
Honestly, her confused face made the situation even worse because I immediately started panicking emotionally and trying to explain myself too quickly.
Oh no, panic English is always dangerous.
Very dangerous because then I accidentally said, "Many people survive this sugar every day."
Emily,
I know!
that sentence sounds like people are fighting sugar for survival.
Exactly. And at that point, even I realized the situation had become completely ridiculous.
What did the woman do afterward?
Thankfully, after several seconds of confusion, she suddenly understood what I really meant and started laughing warmly instead of becoming upset.
Thank goodness she had a sense of humor emotionally.
Yes, and honestly, once she started laughing, I also relaxed and laughed at myself instead of feeling ashamed.
That emotional reaction is actually huge progress compared to before.
Exactly, because old Emily would probably think about that mistake for 3 weeks before sleeping every night.
Ah, yes, the painful midnight embarrassment replay inside your brain.
Exactly. But surprisingly, this experience taught me something extremely important about fluency and confidence.
What lesson changed your mindset?
I realized that fluent communication is not about avoiding every mistake perfectly.
Then what is it about?
It is about staying calm, continuing the conversation, laughing at small mistakes, and connecting with people naturally even during awkward moments.
Wow, that is honestly a very mature and healthy perspective emotionally.
Yes, because after that conversation ended, the woman actually thanked me warmly for helping her find the sugar, and we even talked a little more while walking toward the cashier area.
Which proves the communication was successful despite the mistakes.
Exactly. And honestly, that experience changed something important inside me emotionally.
In what way?
I stopped believing mistakes automatically destroy conversations.
Because most conversations continue normally if your attitude stays positive and relaxed.
Yes, and after that day, I became much less afraid of speaking imperfect English publicly because I realized communication is much more human and forgiving than my fears imagined.
Dear listeners, please remember something important from Emily's story today.
Your mistakes are usually much smaller than they feel inside your mind emotionally.
And sometimes your funniest mistakes later become your warmest memories and strongest motivation to continue growing confidently.
Emily, after hearing your supermarket story, I suddenly remembered one conversation that completely changed my confidence forever. Honestly, even now, I still feel emotional when I think carefully about that night.
Oh, wow. This sounds like a very meaningful turning point story.
It really was, because before that moment, I still secretly believed that fluency was something very far away from me emotionally.
Even after improving little by little already?
Yes, because sometimes learners improve gradually without realizing how much stronger they already became compared to the beginning.
That is very true emotionally, because people often focus more on what they still cannot do instead of appreciating their progress.
Exactly. And this happened during a period when I was practicing English every single day very seriously.
What kind of practice were you doing?
Listening practice, shadowing, reading simple stories aloud, and joining occasional online English conversation groups late at night after work.
That sounds like a very consistent and hardworking routine.
Yes, but emotionally, I still lacked confidence because I believed my pronunciation and speaking speed were not good enough yet.
Many learners delay confidence while waiting for perfection emotionally.
Exactly. And one night, after joining an online English conversation group, something unexpected happened.
What happened?
After the group ended, one of the members privately called me and asked if I wanted to continue talking casually for extra speaking practice.
Oh, wow. That must have felt both exciting and terrifying emotionally.
Honestly, yes, because private one-on-one conversations felt much scarier than group conversations for me at that time.
Why?
Because during group conversations, other people speak often, so there is less pressure emotionally.
But during private conversations, you cannot hide quietly.
Exactly. And honestly, for several seconds, I considered pretending my internet suddenly died dramatically.
Another classic survival strategy from fearful English learners.
Exactly. But somehow, I gathered enough courage and accepted the call anyway.
That decision probably became very important later.
It really did, because during that 1-hour conversation, something inside my mindset slowly changed forever.
What was the conversation about?
Honestly, very simple topics at first, like favorite foods, music, movies, travel dreams, and daily routines.
Sometimes the simplest conversations become the most meaningful emotionally.
Exactly. And at first, I still felt nervous and careful about every sentence I spoke.
Were you still making mistakes?
Absolutely. Many mistakes, actually. But something surprising happened during the conversation.
What surprised you?
The other person did not care about my small grammar mistakes at all emotionally.
Because real conversations focus more on communication and connection.
Exactly. And instead of judging me, the person listened patiently, smiled often, and encouraged me whenever I struggled finding vocabulary.
That kind of supportive atmosphere can transform confidence very quickly.
Yes, and after about 30 minutes, I suddenly realized something shocking emotionally.
What realization surprised you?
I realized I had been speaking English continuously for almost half an hour without translating everything inside my head first.
Wow, that is actually a huge fluency milestone.
It really was. And honestly, when I noticed that happening naturally, I almost became emotional during the conversation itself.
Because suddenly you realized your English was becoming real and natural, little by little.
Exactly. And then near the end of the conversation, the person told me something I will never forget.
What did they say?
They said, "Your English feels warm and easy to talk to."
Aw, that is honestly such a beautiful compliment.
Yes, and hearing that completely changed the way I saw myself emotionally.
Because before that, you only focused on mistakes and weaknesses.
Exactly. But that sentence helped me realize fluency is not only about speed, difficult vocabulary, or perfect grammar.
Then what is fluency truly about?
Fluency is about communication, confidence, emotional connection, and continuing conversations naturally without fear controlling you completely.
Wow, that message feels incredibly important for beginners listening today.
Because honestly, many learners already know much more than they realize emotionally.
They simply need more confidence, practice, and self-belief.
Exactly. And after that phone call, my mindset toward English changed dramatically.
In what way?
I stopped chasing perfect English obsessively and started focusing more on enjoying conversations, expressing myself naturally, and improving step by step patiently.
That emotional shift usually creates much faster long-term growth, too.
Yes, because once fear becomes smaller, communication becomes freer and more natural automatically.
Dear listeners, if you currently feel far away from fluency, please remember something important tonight.
Every fluent speaker once felt nervous too.
Every confident voice once shook with fear.
And every beautiful English journey begins with one small, brave conversation at a time.
As we slowly reach the ending of today's long conversation together, I want every listener right now to pause quietly for a moment and think honestly about how far you have already come during your English journey, even if your progress sometimes feels slow, invisible, or imperfect emotionally.
Because honestly, many learners become so focused on their mistakes and weaknesses that they completely forget to notice their courage, effort, consistency, and growth that has been slowly building day after day without them realizing it clearly.
Maybe today your English is still simple.
Maybe you still feel nervous before speaking aloud.
Maybe you still need time to understand fast conversations.
Maybe your grammar is not perfect yet.
But please remember something deeply important tonight.
Fluency does not begin when fear disappears completely.
Fluency begins the moment you continue speaking, even while feeling nervous inside.
Because honestly, every confident English speaker you admire today once struggled with beginner sentences too.
Every fluent speaker once forgot vocabulary in the middle of conversations.
Every strong speaker once felt embarrassed after making mistakes publicly.
And honestly, many of them probably cried, felt discouraged, or wanted to quit during difficult moments too.
But slowly, little by little, conversation by conversation, they continued anyway.
And that is exactly why we believe you can continue too.
Because fluency is not magic.
It is repetition,
Patience,
courage,
consistency,
and daily practice repeated over time with hope and determination.
Sometimes learners imagine fluency as one huge mountain they must climb perfectly without mistakes.
But real fluency usually grows quietly through tiny daily moments,
Small conversations,
small improvements,
small victories,
small embarrassing mistakes that later become funny memories.
and honestly, those tiny moments slowly build something powerful inside you emotionally.
Confidence.
Because confidence is not something people are born with naturally.
Confidence grows every time you survive fear and continue anyway.
Every time you speak despite nervousness,
Every time you make mistakes but keep practicing.
every time you choose courage instead of silence.
And maybe right now, some listeners still feel discouraged because they think their English journey is taking too long emotionally.
But honestly, slow progress is still real progress.
A flower does not become beautiful in one single night.
And fluency does not appear after one perfect study session,
Growth takes time.
especially meaningful growth.
So please stop comparing your Chapter 1 to somebody else's Chapter 20.
Because comparison steals motivation and creates unnecessary sadness emotionally.
Instead, compare yourself to the person you were 6 months ago,
1 year ago,
or even 1 month ago.
maybe before you were too afraid to listen to English podcasts completely.
But now you can understand long emotional conversations little by little.
Maybe before you avoided English entirely.
But now you are bravely trying simple conversations in daily life.
That is progress.
Real progress.
Even if it feels small emotionally sometimes.
And honestly, one of the most beautiful things about learning English is not only becoming fluent,
It is becoming stronger emotionally during the journey too.
because language learning teaches patience,
Resilience,
courage,
humility.
self-belief.
It teaches you how to continue even when confidence becomes weak temporarily.
And those life lessons become valuable far beyond English itself.
So please remember this clearly tonight.
You do not need perfect English to begin speaking confidently,
You only need the courage to begin imperfectly.
because perfection is not the goal.
Communication is.
Growth is.
Connection is.
And honestly, people usually remember your kindness, energy, smile, and courage much more than your grammar mistakes.
So please stop punishing yourself emotionally every time you make small errors.
Mistakes are not proof that you are failing,
They are proof that you are learning actively and bravely.
and every mistake you survive makes future conversations feel slightly easier emotionally.
Which means even embarrassing moments are secretly helping you grow stronger.
And maybe one day in the future, you will suddenly realize something beautiful.
You will notice that conversations that once felt terrifying now feel natural.
Words that once felt impossible now come automatically.
And confidence that once felt far away is suddenly part of your normal daily life.
That transformation will not happen in one dramatic, magical moment.
It will happen quietly, slowly, and naturally through consistency.
One sentence at a time.
One conversation at a time.
One brave moment at a time.
Dear listeners, if you are currently standing at the very beginning of your English journey, please do not feel ashamed about starting from zero.
Because every fluent person in the world once started from zero too.
Every expert was once a beginner.
Every confident speaker was once afraid.
And every beautiful success story began with someone deciding not to give up.
So from today onward, please try speaking to yourself more kindly during your learning journey.
Instead of saying, "My English is terrible," maybe say, "My English is improving little by little every day."
Instead of saying, I am too shy, maybe say, I am becoming braver slowly.
Those small mindset changes can completely transform your motivation emotionally over time.
And please remember, your English journey does not need to look perfect to become successful later.
You are allowed to learn slowly.
You are allowed to make mistakes.
You are allowed to feel nervous sometimes.
But please,
Never stop trying.
because your future fluent self is being built quietly through the small efforts you make today,
Even on difficult days.
especially on difficult days.
Thank you so much for spending this emotional and meaningful time together with us today here on Empower English Channel.
We truly hope today's stories gave you comfort, motivation, courage, and hope for your own English journey.
And whenever you feel discouraged again in the future, please remember tonight's message clearly inside your heart.
From zero,
To fluent,
your English journey starts now,
slowly,
naturally,
patiently,
and confidently.
keep learning,
Keep speaking,
keep growing,
and most importantly,
keep believing in yourself.
goodbye, everyone.
Stay healthy, stay hopeful, and keep practicing English every single day, little by little.
We will see you again very soon with more emotional stories, more conversations, more laughter.
And every beautiful success story began with someone deciding not to give up.
So from today onward, please try speaking to yourself more kindly during your learning journey.
Instead of saying, "My English is terrible," maybe say, "My English is improving little by little every day."
Instead of saying, I am too shy, maybe say, I am becoming braver slowly.
Those small mindset changes can completely transform your motivation emotionally over time.
And please remember, your English journey does not need to look perfect to become successful later.
You are allowed to learn slowly.
You are allowed to make mistakes.
You are allowed to feel nervous sometimes.
But please,
Never stop trying.
because your future fluent self is being built quietly through the small efforts you make today,
Even on difficult days.
especially on difficult days.
Thank you so much for spending this emotional and meaningful time together with us today here on Empower English Channel.
We truly hope today's stories gave you comfort, motivation, courage, and hope for your own English journey.
And whenever you feel discouraged again in the future, please remember tonight's message clearly inside your heart.
From zero
To Fluent,
your English journey starts now,
slowly,
naturally,
patiently,
and confidently.
keep learning,
Keep speaking,
keep growing,
and most importantly,
keep believing in yourself.
goodbye, everyone.
Stay healthy, stay hopeful, and keep practicing English every single day, little by little.
We will see you again very soon with more emotional stories, more conversations, more laughter, and more confidence together.
Bye, everyone.
See you soon.